Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a e-bike today and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent a e-bike.
Yeah. Welcome to Ride Along Live for today. Yeah, 1, 2, check. I know I'm kind of hearing an echo. I hope you guys are hearing me fine. I had to kind of set up myself a little bit like this. Let me know if you guys hear me properly. Let me know if you guys hear me properly without the echo, because I'm hearing a little bit of an echo back in my ear. So, mic check. Let me know if you guys hear me good. Give me a thumbs up if you hear me good without any echo. You hear me perfectly. Let us know, because we're coming to you live from a makeshift studio here inside of the Esplanade Mall. My first time in the setup, so everything good? Give me a thumbs up if you hear me perfect. No echo, everything is good. Good? Nice. Hey, Rochelle Boateng, thank you so much. All right, at followers, everybody. At followers. Today we have an interesting conversation. Very topical conversation. Yes. Emma White, thank you so much. Barbara, thank you so much. Everything is good. All right, good. So we're broadcasting live from the Esplanade Mall. I am here, and I'll be here for the next couple of days as we gear up for Spice Mass, right? Yesterday, guys, I made it to Carriacou for a bit. I spent a few hours in Carriacou helping out and gathering some needed information. And I must say, guys, that Carriacou is far, far, far worse than I could have ever anticipated or expected. Yeah, it's actually worse than I expected. And bear in mind, guys, this is about a few weeks or so after Hurricane Beryl, right? And I got a chance to go around the entire island. And wow, I've never seen so much destruction in my life. I mean, it's not like one part of the island was spared and one part was I mean, the whole island was devastated. So I'm compiling a video of what we saw yesterday to give you guys a real true reflection on Carriacou. All right, so look out for that. That's going to be posted sometime tonight on Ride Along Live. All right, guys, so let's talk. Now, yesterday, a story broke in the media. And a big story, breaking news, that Senator Jonathan Crette was fired from cabinet. And of course, garnered a lot of attention. Everyone was seeking information, trying to find out exactly what happened. And today, the Prime Minister confirmed that in fact Jonathan Crette was indeed fired and gave an explanation. We're gonna speak about this today, all right, with our guests. But before we do that, I want to show you guys exactly what the Prime Minister said today in the press conference. Check it out.
The second issue I want to address is to inform the public that yesterday I advised the Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade, to recall the appointment of Minister Jonathan Crette as the Minister for Youth and Sport, and also to recall his appointment as Senator as a result thereof, since his senatorial appointment was in effect to allow him to carry out his duties as a minister. I have since communicated that decision to Mr. Crette yesterday morning and thanked him for his service to the government and people of Grenada as a Minister of Government and as a Senator. He has expressed his appreciation for being given the opportunity to serve in the Cabinet of Ministers. The reason for doing so is that as Prime Minister, sitting in the Cabinet, I formed the view that I had personally lost trust and confidence in Minister Crette in his capacity as a minister, and in those circumstances I thought it was appropriate for me to inform him of that fact and to inform his fellow cabinet colleagues. I want to emphasize that there is no personal issues between myself and Mr. Crette. I am quite fond of him. There are no personal issues between him and the ministers of government. They have an excellent relationship. This is purely an issue of my prime ministerial discretion in relation to Minister Crette as a minister in cabinet, and in circumstances where as Prime Minister I no longer hold confidence in any particular minister, the only appropriate thing to do would be to allow the minister to be relieved of the burden of ministerial duties, and I have so done. I appreciate that the journalists who are here and other members of the media may have questions as to why I formed that view. I will indicate that I will not get into the nitty-gritty of the details because they are not appropriate given the fact that it's a trust and confidence issue, but I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have nonetheless in light of that. For completion, I should indicate that Senator the Honorable David Andrew will act as Minister for Youth and Sport in the meantime until I make a further decision as to the substantive post of Minister for Youth and Sports or any further cabinet realignment that may arise thereof. Mr. Crette still remains a member of the National Democratic Congress. I look forward to continuing to work with him in that capacity as a member of the National Democratic Congress. He has also acted as the caretaker for St. George Northwest, and unless he says otherwise, I expect that he will continue to do so. So that's it. I'm happy to entertain any questions that any of the journalists may have.
Right. So that was the narrative that was set out by the Prime Minister today, stating that there were no personal problems. But yesterday, a different narrative was formed. I heard that on various platforms that there was some altercation that led up to the Prime Minister relieving Jonathan Crette of his position. I've heard of cuss out, I've heard of police intervention, I've heard of various things, right, from different circles. So today we venture out to communicate with Jonathan Crette. I messaged him earlier today to ask for a response from him. And I'm going to get into his response in a little while. But joining us right now to talk about what transpired and what is transpiring now, because this is still a very big story, is Kem Jones. He has, well, of course, you guys know who Kem Jones is, and helping us to form an understanding and a narrative of what happened. Kem, welcome to the program. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, thank you, Junior. I'm a bit hoarse, but I had to make it to engage because obviously this program is a very important one, and I'm happy to be here.
Right. Kem, give us first of all, do you know Jonathan Crette? Have you worked with him? And what's your opinion of Jonathan Crette?
Right. So, firstly, Junior, I must say to you that this is not new. And that's something that must be established.
Uh-huh.
We have seen over the many years under the previous administration a number of people who were senators of government, who were ministers of government. They were fired, their appointment were recalled, they were removed from their positions and so on. So this is nothing new.
Right.
And that's something that must be established. We saw Raphael Fletcher, for example, right?
Uh-huh.
We know what happened between him and Keith Mitchell. We know what happened thereafter. We also know of Grace Duncan, for example. And we know people with some knowledge of politics, they know. We know of Sheldon Scott, for example, who was a junior minister or parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of Youth. In the Ministry of Youth. He was removed, and I think Kate Lewis replaced him. She later went on to run as a member of parliament for a particular area. We know of Ali Gill.
Was it Kate Lewis or the minister, the one in St. Patrick?
I think it's Kate, either Kate or Pamela Moses, one of them.
I believe it was Pamela Moses.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
And we also know of Ali Gill also.
Right.
During Uncle Tilly's time. He was fired, I think, as Minister of, was it culture? Or something around that.
Right.
He was removed. So what must be very clear to everyone, they serve at the behest or honor, really, of the Prime Minister.
Right.
So he has the authority, he has the power to remove them at any given time. Right. And you don't have to be a senator. You can be an elected member of parliament and still be removed from that position.
Right.
So that's something that is very clear. So you need to know that from the onset. You ask me a question, Jonathan Lacrette and I, we are good, right? And we've always been good. And nothing would not change that.
Right.
I'm saying to you again, you have to understand the climate in which we exist. There is and that's political climate.
Uh-huh.
There is a different yardstick for the NDC in Grenada and even outside. When people look at the NDC has to be perfect. But the NNP could do anything, and there is no problem with that. People say, well, that is expected. They would use words to the effect, well, Keith Mitchell is the boss, and he can do whatever he wants, right? But when it comes to the NDC, it was a different ball game, and it will always be a different ball game. So the minute time the most honorable Deacon Mitchell do what he's supposed to do and use the authority invested in him, then they would turn around and say something totally different.
Right.
Right? So I'm saying again, the authority lies with the Prime Minister. Remember,
yes,
Jonathan Lacrette was not elected. He was appointed.
Yeah.
Appointed him.
Right.
The Prime Minister appointed him and had him made a senator and a minister of youth and sport.
Yeah, no, I understand that. In reference to Sheldon Scott appointment, Sheldon made it a point yesterday to say that he wasn't fired. He was asked to resign.
Well, there's a lot of nice names to describe everything.
Right.
Nothing is wrong with that.
Right. And we understand that the minister serve at the pleasure and the leisure of the prime minister. So the prime minister could remove them at any point in time, ask them to resign.
Of course.
What do you think was so drastic that the prime minister could not have asked him to resign? Because looking at the narrative from years past, and people associate NDC with that, NDC, like with Ali Gill and with Peter David during that particular time, they're associated with not staying together, always have some infighting, right? Why do you think that the prime minister could not have asked him to resign rather than to fire him and make it a public spectacle what it is right now?
Let me tell you something, Junior. I'm saying to you, this thing about NDC and NDC is united and is intact. NDC, in fact, NDC is more united than the NNP. But people think that the most honorable Deacon Mitchell is Uncle Seeley, for example. He's not. So he has to put his foot down when the time comes to do so.
Right.
In fact, I believe, and I firmly believe, that he did the right thing, and I am in total support of the most honorable Deacon Mitchell because he has always been right. His action, his decisions have always been bang on target. You can trust him. You can believe in him. And he is a man. He did not come out and tell the public everything, just throw everything in the public there. No. He said, we no longer have Jonathan Crette as a minister, and this is the reason why, basically or generally.
Right.
His appointment was recalled, and, we wish him all the best. The NNP will always create all kinds of stuff. You hear me? The NNP, that's the NNP. Nothing is wrong with them getting on like they accustomed getting on. We saw Bud Braffett, for example, recently came out and expressed himself, and we know what happened to Bud Braffett. All right? We saw others within the NNP who came out and expressed themselves, and we saw what happened to them. So I am saying you cannot have a different measuring stick for the NNP. When you look at the NDC, you just create something totally different too. So you see the NNP as a party who could do anything and gets away with it more or less. But when the NDC does something, well, boy, because I ask people up to this day, what has the prime minister done wrong? They can't tell me.
Right.
Up to this point, they cannot tell me. Right. And when you zoom into the party NDC, there's no, listen to this, Jonathan Crette is still a member of the NDC, Jonathan Crette is still a member of the NDC. If he wants to resign, nothing wrong with that. He is free to do so. But if he wants to remain a member of the NDC, no one is saying he can't or he cannot remain a member of the NDC. So all this halabaloo about, the prime minister making a decision. In fact, the prime minister has the authority, the power to do so. And the NDC is a way stronger and better organization than the NNP. The NNP has not had a convention or general council for years.
Right.
For years. You have a guy who doesn't want to give up power. Joe Biden decided to do so because he's about, 81 years? But you have Keith Mitchell there. In other words, you have to understand what is at stake. The NNP is desperate for attention and for conversation, and they would grab at anything. So, look, this is nothing surprising, and bring it on. Bring it on. I mean, I love the fact that they are conversing and talking, and you hear the rubbish from some of them regarding NDC, this and NDC is strong. The prime minister has authority to do what he has to do, and he must do what he has to do. You hear me? So I say to them, the same Jonathan Crette, the same individual that NNP is now praising 2 days or 3 days ago. They were attacking the same guy, saying all manner of things about him.
Right.
All of them, they were attacking him. So tell me, why all of a sudden you no longer attack him, and all of a sudden you love him, all of a sudden he's your friend, and the NDC shouldn't this, and the Prime Minister shouldn't that? Why? I'm asking the question, why?
Right. Okay, Kim, let me ask you this question, because I'm hearing a number of things, right? I'm hearing a number of things. First, yesterday, we heard that Jonathan Crette had a big cuss out with the Prime Minister. There was a brawl. There was a bunch of F-sharp flying back and forth in cabinet right after police was called and escorted him out and escorted him to his car. That what was said, right? That what was said, and someone made clear that that is the narrative that was painted. I heard a little bit differently. I'm going to tell you what I heard, and I spoke to Jonathan Crette earlier today, and he gave me his narrative of what happened. What have you heard from what transpired?
Well, my brother, I don't deal with hearsay.
Right.
I am going firmly with the statement of the Prime Minister, and I believe the Prime Minister because based on his track record, he has always gotten it right, and he has always been sincere with the Grenadian people. So this hearsay and them say and all this nonsense, these things are all concocted and make up by the NNP to create all kind of drama and all kind of damn stupidness. At the end of the day, we must accept that Junior Judge is in charge of this program, and if he doesn't want me on it, he can remove me. And this is basic. I am not going to go by hearsay and them say and she say. In fact, I went in the community some years back doing some work, and there was somebody saying, "Boy, Kem Jones or this," telling me Kem Jones or this and Kem Jones or that. And then I pointed to the 2 other persons who were there. I said, "Don't even tell them that it's Kem Jones they're speaking to." And they start to get on and not knowing that it's Kem Jones right in front of them. So I'm not interested in the nonsense of hearsay and who hear and what say and what say. NNP is good at gossip, spreading misinformation, and all kind of damn stupidness. I'm not interested in that.
Right. So here's what I was told directly, and I'm like you. I spoke to Jonathan Crette earlier today by way of text to find out, because after hearing the narrative that was painted, I was shocked that all of that went on. So I asked Mr. Jonathan Crette directly to confirm or deny the incident that there were in fact a brawl, well, not a fight, not a physical fight, but a cuss out, F-sharp flying left and right from him and the Prime Minister. Police was called, and exactly the narrative that was painted out there. And Mr. Crette responded to me and said, "Mr. George, the way things went was mentioned in the press conference this morning, sir." So, to me, that is clear that he, being the person on the receiving end, could articulate that if there were, in fact, police called and escorted him out of cabinet. But again, he said, and again, I quote him, "Mr. George, the way things went was mentioned in the press conference today," which the Prime Minister said that they had, he thanked him for his service, and then that was how it happened. So the whole narrative now is being concocted in a way to make it seem as if there were this fight, like almost a fist fight, almost came down to a fist fight, when there obviously, from what Jonathan Crette said, they were not.
Yeah, but Junior, are you surprised? You're surprised? Look, the NNP has always concocted stories, make-up stories, meaning those surrogates, pundits, goons, zygotes, and sycophants. That's what they do. They don't know. You listen to their platforms and their programs, It's a whole pile of hearsay, she said, them saying stories. That's what they do. It's not surprising. And that is why I'm saying to you, I have confidence in the most honorable Deacon Mitchell. He has gotten it right on all occasions in the past. He is sincere, he's honest, he can be trusted. And when he speaks the truth. And look, I expected even worse from those NNP pundits and from different people trying to get the limelight and spotlight. In fact, I saw on Facebook a whole pile of nonsense, and I just laughed. I say to myself, were they there, right? Were they inside there? How could they say X and say Y? But look, again, I go back to how I started. We must accept that the Prime Minister has the authority to hire and to fire. In fact, I would love to see him go further in those government departments and statutory bodies and boards to make some sweeping changes. I would love to see that happen. Look, Jonathan Crette, I have no problem with the gentleman.
Right.
That would always remain. He has never done me anything wrong. He has never disrespected me at no time. All right? We have always been good. In fact, the day before he was fired or recalled, we had a conversation via WhatsApp. Right? I have no problem with the gentleman. I knew him way before politics. All right?
Yeah.
But I am saying that the biggie, the hype, this thing is being fueled or gas torched by the NNP pundits and surrogates and so on. That is what they want. That is exactly what they want to make an issue. But here it is. Let's look at history now. So you're saying that we are so novice, quote unquote, that we cannot remember the amount of people who were actually removed or demoted under the NNP, under Keith Mitchell's leadership, that we just forget everything like that in his 20-something years as Prime Minister? This thing is nothing new. This is not shocking or surprising, but there are a lot of people who kind of fresh to the politics, and this is like breaking news for them, all right? Because the NNP make them believe that anytime some disciplinary action is done, well, boy, NDC this and NDC breaking up and NDC have it. Nonsense. In fact, I believe if Uncle Tilly did what the most honorable Deacon Mitchell did when Peter, David, and all the others were acting or doing whatever they were doing, I can tell you, maybe he would have still been Prime Minister. Remember Michael Church?
Yeah.
You remember what happened? Michael Church, he was minister of what? Was it agriculture or something? Some kind of minister. And it was alleged that he went to some engagement and did not inform the Prime Minister at the time. And then he was removed as that particular minister. As minister, sorry. I think the portfolio was removed from him. I think so. Something of that sort. You see, you have to understand where power lies in everything that you do. You have to understand where power lies. You are serving at the mercy, more or less, of the Prime Minister.
Right.
And it's as simple like that.
Right.
You know something? We have seen a similar thing in Trinidad. We saw a similar thing in Trinidad sometime back, you know. The same Keith Rowley, I think, was either he was fired or demoted, something of that sort, by Manning, and he remained a member of the party. And then, you know, because once the party makes the decision to have you as a leader or whatever, then you can be. I think something to that effect.
Right.
I can't remember exactly, right? But I'm saying it's a normal thing. Even within the Caribbean, you see similar things happening,
Yes.
right?
No,
It's nothing new.
I understand. I know we're going back to the fact that the the cabinet could change. The prime minister could fire anybody.
Yes,
And we understand that. We understand that. But I'm saying the narrative that now is being painted, even from some of the supporters, not just NNP, not just NNP. I've heard from even some NDC supporters that is saying that is it possible that it could have been done a different way to avoid that narrative of what happened in the past?
my brother, all you need to do is to look at history. There is nothing NDC could do to please the NNP or some supporters of the NDC. There, in other words, our beloved Prime Minister could have done it in many different ways, and still it would not please these people. So just do what you got to do anyways. They're going to talk
Right.
couple of days. Today's what? Thursday? Give them 4 days, 5 days, and then they jump on something else. That will be history.
Right.
So it's nothing new. This is what can you do to please these people, brother?
Right.
I mean, Junior, while I don't want to move to another subject matter,
Right.
well, let's look at some of the things. For example, what is happening in Carriacou? You just came from Carriacou. All right? Our beloved Prime Minister, the Honorable Andy Williams, the Honorable Tevin Andrews, the Honorable Ron Redded, and the others, they're trying their best, right, to help the people of Carriacou and PT Martinique. Many different ways. But still, if you listen to the NNP pundits on the different platforms and programs, you're getting a different thing, you know.
Right.
I'm telling you,
Well, that's
they will
what-
give you
that's
that idea
That is
that nothing is happening. In fact, today I saw the news that the desalination plant, for the water and so on, that Nawasa was able to get that up and running in Carriacou, completed that process. I think they got PT Martinique up and running a little while now, but Carriacou was a challenge. But you listen to the NNB, they're on their platforms, and you're hearing something totally different. So there is nothing that you can do to really please these people, because all what the NNP in particular wants, they want power. And they would concoct stories, they go cook up stories, they go make up stories, they go spread all kind of stuff so that people are going to believe something totally different because they want political mileage, they want some advantage. So you can expect that. That's what it is here. So I am simply saying, our beloved Prime Minister, he could have done, he could have called Jonathan in a room, he could have said, well, Mr. Crette, you can just resign and you make the announcement and so and so, that kind of stuff. And then the NNP will come out and say, okay, they force him to resign. They push him to resign. In other words, my brother, sometimes you got to do what you have to do. You hear me? Just go at it, because you cannot please these people or everybody. You can't please them. Just do what you got to do. If I am in charge of something, you don't have to ask a question, you're a judge. No, I'm in charge. You could say what you want. I make the decision. I do what I have to do. There's some people going to be happy, some going to be sad. But when you make a decision, it must be in the best interest of the country.
Right. So as far as the narrative, I was saying only. Sorry, my mic. Hold on.
Yeah, we actually hearing you though.
You hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we actually hearing you.
All right. Okay. So this is a part of the conversation and the response from Mr. Jonathan Crette. Let me invite some of the folks that are watching right now to participate in the conversation. If you want to call in live, now is your time to call in and make your contribution. The number that you call is 718-701-5720. Again, Jonathan Crette, former Minister of Youth and Sports, was fired. Today, the Prime Minister came out and made it official and state the method and how it was done, and he made it clear, right? I spoke to Jonathan Crette via text earlier today, and basically his response was that it was not a brawl. He said, Mr. George, the way things went was mentioned in the press conference today, because I asked him to confirm the information that was circulating in regards to having police right? So he mentioned that it didn't happen that way. Let's go back. Let's jump to the phone lines right now. We got a caller online. Caller live, where you calling us from?
I'm calling from New York. Good evening.
New York, go right ahead.
Yes. I don't know what went on. I wouldn't know what went on, and I'm still trying to gather what went on. But the question I would like to ask, which I know you might be able to answer, Mr. Ridelong, why did Senator get himself in this mess?
Right. Well, what mess? Because we haven't spoken about the allegations yet. I mean, they are speculation. They are speculations.
Yeah, the speculation that's going on. Why he get himself in that mess? To get my prime minister so upset. I am very, very sorry for what's going on. Because just as how Mr. Ken Jones said, this is all what the NNP want, to take it out on the street.
Okay. All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Yeah. Kim, I heard speculation, and I don't like to speculate because it's just speculation, right? I don't know if you have any matter of fact that brought the Prime Minister to the decision to get rid of Jonathan Crette. If you have, please share it with us. Do you know?
Well, Junior, again, I go back to what our beloved Prime Minister said. And I maintain that. I have full confidence in the most Honorable Deacon Mitchell. He has always gotten it right. And he's truthful, he's honest, he's sincere. In fact, you saw Junior put up that text there of Mr. Crette confirming and saying, hey, what the Prime Minister said, that is what it is. All right? Mr. George, the way things went was mentioned in the press conference this morning, sir. And you then replied, okay, thanks. Look, I want to say to you, Jonathan Crette and I, we would always be friends. We good, we cool. He has never disrespected me. He has never done anything for me to say anything bad about him at no given time. All right? There are a lot of speculations, a lot of things out there that I would not go into.
Right.
All right? I would not go into that. I am simply saying I wish him all the best. He has always been, a good communicator. I can't say anything bad. But again, I stick to our beloved Prime Minister and what he said. He has always been truthful, on the ball, on issues generally. I am saying to you, the people out there, this is not new. This is not new. So to come and give the impression that this is some breaking news, something new, we have seen in the past on plenty of occasions where Keith Mitchell sacked members of his cabinet or demoted members of his cabinet or recall certain appointments of members of his cabinet and Senate and so on. So what is different this time around, though? I really want to know.
Right.
It's really different this time around. Oh, it's the NDC in power? Huh?
Let's see if we could get an answer. We got a call on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Hi, Junior. Good night. I'm calling from Tatula.
Hey, Tatula, go right ahead.
Yes. I want the people to look at this thing in this way. It's not a NNP or a NDC thing.
Right.
I feel like if the minister gets fired for some reason, that shouldn't be NNP have to make a big uproar about that, or NDC should make a big uproar. That is between the Prime Minister and the gentleman and the country. That is not to do with NNP or NDC. So I want Ken Jones to stop. Every time you ask him a question, he have to compare NNP did this. And NDC do it now, so NNP have a problem. It is not about NNP or NDC. It is about the country and the minister and the government. So stick to what happened and forget about NNP and NDC. And stop fighting down one another like that. It look bad for the country.
O-
So
Okay.
please,
Caller,
stick to the
you want to clarify which part of it you're saying that looks bad?
when he always comparing what NNP do because of what NDC do now.
Okay. All right, caller. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
So,
Cap-
Junior, I am a student of history. And let me tell this scholar, you need to know, my brother, you cannot have a conversation without looking at what happened in the past and looking at what happening now. If you can't deal with that, I'm sorry for you, no, brother, but that's Kem Jones for you, because I am a student of history. Under Keith Mitchell, the NNP, we saw a number of ministers of government or senators and so on demoted, sacked over the many years. So what is new and unique about this time wrong where the prime minister is executing his authority based on the constitution and executing what is really his right to do? Is it unique? Is it special? Well, you got to deal with it, because I'm saying to you, I will compare what happened in the past and what happening now. In fact, even under Uncle Tilly, we saw sacking took place and demotion took place. So it's nothing new. It's looking bad. But if it's looking bad, let it continue to look bad. Utter rubbish, utter nonsense. You believe that when you speak, you're speaking as though you know what you're saying. Thank God for that. Freedom of expression. Saying again, you have to compare what happened in the past to what's happening now.
Yeah. We got another call on the line. Caller, live, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Grenada,
Grenada, go right ahead.
by way of New York.
Yes.
Yes. So my input for this conversation is this: we claim to love our Prime Minister and respect our Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister made a statement in a press conference today saying why the senator was dismissed. So I'm just so perplexed as to why we're having all these long discussions about and wondering as to why. He already answered the question. We keep majoring in minor instead of looking forward and just trusting that our Prime Minister is quite prolific in his determinations and what he does. We know that he's smart, he's educated. We know how good he is. He's proven that to us. So why can't we just trust the process instead of deliberating as to why the senator was? He lost confidence.
Let me tell you why. Politics, and Kim knows this very well, you know this very well, that is politics. Everybody's going to look for an advantage at any point in time. Look, when Delma crossed the bench, right, NDC and supporters of NDC saw this as an advantage, and they took advantage of the narrative. In politics, I believe that the other party is sitting in line looking for an opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity. So the supporters of NNP...
So that be into their hand right now?
So the supporters of the NNP are seeing this as an advantage. And that's, I believe, is as politics.
Yes, we know that's politics, yes. But what is the advantage there? Because as far back as I can remember,
right?
Do you remember when he fired Dr. What's his name, Ken? You can probably help me. Dr. Marcus Hill.
Ali Gill? Dr. who?
And he ran in the St. George.
Pardon me? Where is from St. John?
Fletcher, Dr. Fletcher.
Dr. Raphael Fletcher.
Right.
Right? He fired Dr. Fletcher. He's fired so many people from his
administration. I never heard all of this conversation going on after they were fired, and he has been in office for 20 plus years, right? We call him the grandfather house, right? So the whole point is, yes, we know that they're going to say all kinds of things, right? We know what their narrative is going to be, right? We know that. We expect that. But at the end of the day, what we have to do is educate ourselves with enough ammunition that we can stand up and have debates that we can all learn from and defend our party, our prime minister, show him our support that, yes, we might not like it. There are certain things that might happen within the party and within the government. Forget the party for now. We're talking about the government right now. That might happen within the government. But the whole point of the matter is, if that's who we back in and that's who we support, I'm not saying that we're supposed to just lie down and just take everything. No, right? But in this instance, we know that there was a cabinet reshuffle. He was moved from the Ministry of Health. He was placed in a different ministry. I mean, in your own mind, you could come up with whatever you want to come up with. But as far as what was said, I think we just have to accept. We don't have a choice. We just have to accept what was said.
And
we could debate it. We could talk about it from now to I think we still just have to accept it.
Yeah, we have to, as a supporter, and again, I like to look at it from both sides. I like to try to look at it from both sides, play devil's advocate, and try to bring forth the other argument. The other argument is that you may support the Prime Minister 100%, but that doesn't ring true for the opposition. They obviously don't support him 100%, so they're going to look for these advantages and take advantage of it. So that's how it is. But Kola, I get your point. Thank you for your input. We appreciate it. Kim, I'm sure that you agree with the caller.
No, I'm simply saying, Junior, look, the NNP will always look for ways to make political mileage. When the Honorable Ron Redhead situation came about, when he was removed as Minister of Youth, Sports, and something else, and he's now an MP, boy, is what they say, because he's pursuing his education and other things. They had all kind of things to say. But Ron Redhead only recently was given the task to do a number of things in Carriacou and so on, and they come back again and attack him. Well, why he should be doing that? Why he shouldn't do this and why this and why that? And so it's kind of hot in here. It's very today, I must admit. All right, and I can't put the AC on because the background noise.
Yeah.
So just bear with me. I want to say you cannot please everybody. Our Prime Minister will never be able to please everybody. And whatever he does will always be criticized by the opposition forces. They would always criticize it. So at the end of it all, he has to do what he must do in his judgment and in his wisdom. And look, I believe in him. I have confidence in his decisions. He has always gotten it right, from the time he became Prime Minister to this point. I have no reason to doubt him. I have no reason to think otherwise. I stated earlier that Jonathan and I, we are cool. He's a cool dude. He's a cool guy, cool gentleman. He has never disrespected me. He has never said anything otherwise. I am simply saying our beloved Prime Minister has that authority and is executing it. The NNP will say all kind of stuff. In fact, I listened to 2 or 3 of their programs. Boy, you would believe that hell is falling now on earth, or earth is going straight into hell. It's what these people say, and they're stretching it, and they this and that, and all of a sudden, boy, they love Jonathan and Crette. No, they love the man bad. One started to say, man, he's a nice man, he's a good man, but mind you, I go back and I listen to a previous 2 programs, and the same 2 individuals was actually calling and speak all kind of ill things, bad things about Jonathan Crette. All kind of bad things about the man. Going about GDP this and GDP is what they, and Lato this and Lato that is what they say about the same individual. So you're right. The NNP will try to milk the thing to make political mileage, and that's the reality. Can't run away from that. But I think Grenadians have matured. We are big people. There are people right now, Junior, who would not like my position on what I am saying right now, listening to the program. But who cares? At the end of the day, I can't please these people or make them like me. I'm not in this for any like, right? I said to my friend, he said, Kem Jones, you next. Junior, I am a volunteer. I'm not employed with government or employed with anybody. I do what I do for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And I've been doing it for the last 10 years. So nobody can fire me. All right? Or recall me or remove me. I am same Kem Jones. You cannot please everybody. And at the end of the day, we trust the judgment, the intelligence of our Prime Minister.
Let's go back to the phone line right here. We got another call on the line. Caller live, where are you calling us from?
Hi, Junior. I'm calling from Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead.
All right. So I just want to say one thing that a lot of persons are missing. There are two things, actually. But one of them is that we have to respect the dignity of Mr. Crette in this situation. If he wants to come out and say exactly what happened, that's his right to do so. But I believe the Prime Minister exercised wisdom, because you don't want to just bring out details on things that have happened privately in a public space. People have to also understand, managers have a right to manage. If what persons are doing, once it is constitutional, once it's according to the rules and the regulations, they have the right to dismiss whomsoever at any point. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but it's just the reality. And I think we as Grenadians need to start to think, because if you were in that position, you wouldn't want your information out there in the public like that. Yes, I understand political life is a front-facing life. People will come at you, but there are certain things you would want protected, of course, especially if you're in this situation. People have families, they have children, they have friends. We have to respect Mr. Crette in this situation, and I'm wishing him the best. It must be tough for him. We're here and we're dragging his name all over the place. Honestly, the reality, okay, yes, he's not the first to be fired. He was not the first to be sacked. It has happened all over the place. It happens in private sector. People lose their jobs every day, right? I think we just have to, in Grenada, we need to restore trust, where we understand those we have put in positions to manage, that we trust them to do so. That's just my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution, caller. We appreciate it. Again, guys, the phone lines are open, 718-701-5720. Kem, your take on that?
Yeah, well, the caller is absolutely right, you know. He's absolutely right. And I think at the end of the day, as I told you, the Prime Minister, he has the authority and the intelligence to carry out those stuff, to take certain decisions. And look, the caller made a very good point. We have to respect the fact that Mr. Crette, he's a human being, he has a family and everything else. All right? We have to wish him all the best in his future endeavors. The caller is also right. He's not the first. And as long as we are living and you have a government and you have the same constitution and the same structure, similar things like that would happen. So, you know, but still, we are in a political environment, really charged, a charged political environment, where the NNP would try to take advantage of the situation. They would say all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Some people are going to be catched with it, whatever they're saying, and some may not. At the end of it all, that is what it is. All right?
But Kem,
But
Kem, you take advantage of that opportunity as well.
Of course. So you expect me not to say so? Of course, I do. That's what it is. So that's why I understand it so much.
That's politics.
That's what it is. The opposition on the program, man, they go beat the things on, say all kind of stuff. That's kind of expected.
Right.
Right? But at the end of it all, I think the Grenadian people, they've matured. They've matured over the period of time. All right? And they know. They know that the NNP and even some NDC supporters, they would be like, okay, well, I wonder what happened. And they will say, well, that happened and this happened and this. They will start, it's kind of, in fact, a lady met me today. She said, hey, Kim Jones, NDC, She said, hey, Kim Jones, well, I had it fire Jonathan Crette for this and for that and for this. I said, all of that. And then an NNP person met me a little lower down by Foodland area there. And they said, Kim Jones, well, are you mashing up now? And you're in fighting? And you see the point? You cannot run away from that reality. But here it is. Caller made a very valuable point. If you give a person a job to manage something, that person must manage with prudence, with intelligence, with good judgment. And you must have confidence in the decision that person makes.
Right. And obviously the Prime Minister didn't, hence the reason why.
Right.
Let's go to the caller. We got a caller on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, hi, I'm calling from London.
London, go right ahead.
Right. I've just got a couple of points that I'd like to make.
Yes.
I watched this afternoon, the press conference, and I thought the Prime Minister handled everything with dignity. Because when you are in an establishment, as in the government, you have to respect what the boss tells you. If there is a confrontation or a disagreement, and the boss turns around and says to you, listen, this is the situation. I can no longer tolerate or put up with what's been going on. I would like you to leave. And if the gentleman is in agreement, there shouldn't be no problem. But everybody seems to be jumping on the bandwagon. The man do this, the man do that. Nobody know what the man do. As the previous caller said, the man Mr. Lacrette handled it very well indeed. He knows what goes on, and he and the Prime Minister knows exactly what's going on. And neither one of them want to make it public. That's entirely up to them. But if the opposition want to gain political mileage by it, then there's nothing we could do. All we have to do is let them go on. Listen, in London, in England here, we have a political system where we have 5, 6, 7 different parties. And whatever goes on, right, if a minister do something, yes, the opposition, the main opposition will gun for the minister. But what you have to realize is when you go for people like that, you have to come out with evidence. If you don't have the evidence, why go after the people? If your boss turns around and say there is sufficient evidence to ask you to resign or to sack you, then you go through with it.
Right. Right.
But it's evidence. So with the NNP saying, oh, this happened, oh, this must have happened, where the evidence for them to be jumping on the bandwagon and saying, oh, this must have happened and this must have happened?
Right. Right. And to that point, right, Kim, with all the narratives that was said, I spoke to someone today, and they made mention that the information that was circulating, the information that the Prime Minister said earlier today was a lie, and it wasn't factual. So I tried to get the narrative from someone who could verify that indeed there were police officers called that took that escorted Jonathan Lacrette from cabinet to his car. And I was trying to get that information. Were there any pictures? Were there anybody there that could confirm? And I was told that the individuals that saw what happened is not willing to come on camera to speak or speak to me privately or not in a position to speak to me privately at that moment. But I don't think that there's anything confidential about saying police officers were escorted. Then I heard Vanny Corwin name called into the narrative that he was somehow a part of the escort that took him there. That was mentioned. And all these things, but no one could actually verify and say that or provide any further evidence to the fact that this happened. So I can't say it happened because even Jonathan Crette is saying that as far as what he said to me, that the information that what happened was how it was relayed on the press conference today. So that's what we have to go by because we have nothing else to stand by than just speculations, Kem.
Yeah, look, Junior, this is Grenada for your dollar, for your money. All right? So you heard from the Prime Minister today, clear cut. He said, this is the position. Then you, Junior, reached out to Jonathan Lacrette, and he told you that what was discussed or said at the press conference was indeed what happened. All right? That's the two people that is involved here. So people trying to make this thing so bigger than what it is, and the two people who are at the center of this said this is what happened. So I think we should accept it based on the fact that both of them came out and say this is what happened.
Right.
That's just my, because look, tonight if you listen to Sheldon Scott, for example, man, they would be going at it. They would be saying all kinds of stuff. They will expand the thing. They go create all kind of stories and so on. Well, don't even talk about Jenny Simon. You know, she would blow the thing up as though it's a balloon. And all kind of this and all kind of that. And you would believe that she was in the room. If you listen to the others like Francis Pear and Carl Caton and Devon Romaine and all of them. So, look, it's kind of expected. The opposition, the NNP, they go say all kind of stuff. It is nothing new. The caller made a very good point. Our beloved Prime Minister handled this thing very well. And Mr. Jonathan Lacrette handled this thing very well. His response to you speaks to maturity. And our beloved Prime Minister, when he addressed Grenada in the press conference today, he did not go there and say all kinds of stuff about the gentleman, and this is what happened, and this is this, and da, da, da. No. No. That is what managers do. That is the level of maturity and you know, intelligence. And that is what Grenadians love. In fact, the gentleman, who I know very well, said to me he was very impressed with our beloved Prime Minister and how he handled the situation. You see, others were expecting him to go down in all kind of, no. He was mature. All right? Yeah. And I really applaud that.
We got another caller on the line. Caller, you're live. Where are you calling us from? Hello? Hello? 718-701-5720. We are taking your call on this very topical issue. Senator Jonathan Lacrette was fired. We did reach out again to the former senator today to get a clear understanding as to what happened, and he responded that, and I had it on the screen earlier, I'll put it up again. He said directly that, Mr. George, the way things went was mentioned in the press conference today. What was mentioned in the press conference today was that the Prime Minister notified the Governor General and then notified Jonathan Lacrette in a meeting, and then he left. As far as we know, there is no information currently that would make us believe that they were police escort, because we haven't seen it. It's just speculation at this point. We haven't seen any pictures. We cannot speak, or we haven't spoke to anyone who witnessed it. We heard that there were eyewitnesses, but no one came forward and expressed that to us. So we don't have that facts. Until we do, we cannot say anything like that happened. So as what we know, it happened as how it was expressed and explained in the press conference earlier today. But we're still taking your call, 718-701-5720. Kem, do you think that the Prime Minister should have at least spoken about some of the things that Jonathan Crette is accused for? We heard so many different things. We heard about meeting with XYZ person. We heard about allegations of confidentiality. We heard about all these things. Do you think that the Prime Minister should have outlined something, or just leave it for everyone or anyone to just speculate on what his firing was about?
I think the Prime Minister handled this thing professionally. He handled this thing right. I don't think he had to go into any details and to explain X and explain Y. In fact, Junior, you don't have to do anything wrong for the Prime Minister to sack you or to fire you, because he has that power to do so.
Right.
So, in other words, the Honorable Jonathan Crette then, right, Mr. Crette, he didn't have to do anything wrong to be sacked or to be changed or to be recalled. So I think that's something that we all need to know and appreciate. It's not that he has to be involved in something or do anything wrong. The Prime Minister of any of those Commonwealth countries, they have that power to remove you or to appoint you. So if the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell wants Junior George to become, let's say, the Minister of Home Affairs, he can easily have Junior George appointed as a senator and then be made the Minister of Home Affairs.
Kem,
Just like
why are you wishing bad on me? You don't find I get enough calling. I want to stay far away from politics, Kem, as far as possible. As far as possible. Let's jump to this phone line. We got a caller on the line. Caller, live. Where are you calling us from?
Hi, I'm calling from Grenada. I just want to make it clear. The Prime Minister has already said what he has said. Mr. Lacrette reached out and said what it. I find it's time for we to leave it and give it a break. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. All right. Yeah. But rest assured, guys, and caller, you know this very well. It's not. Because it's a very political climate that we're in. Nobody going to leave it. I mean, the opposition see this as a gold mine. And they're milking this, and they will take advantage of the opportunity. And Kem would have do the same thing too. So that is how politics are played. That's how the game is played.
and Junior, the caller, look, must know that we are living in a real world.
Yeah.
And I agree with the caller. I want that to be the case. I wish that we can just move on. We can just accept what our beloved Prime Minister said and just move on. But we are living in a real environment where you have opposition, you have government, and then you have talk show programs.
Yeah.
So Junior has to continue with his program. I have to do my program. The NNP pundits and so on, they have their programs and they have to talk about certain things and say certain things. So in reality, that is what would happen. Conversation would be had on this matter, and it may last for a couple of days or so. That's the reality. I would love for us to focus on Carriacou and PT Martinique, the relief effort, the rebuilding effort, and because recovery is a kind of longer term thing. I would love for that to be the case, but things do pop up, and conversation will take place on different programs about certain things. And we have to live with that reality. In fact, I just checked my phone there, and somebody said to me, "Can man just tell Junior George good night, right? And don't even entertain it, don't even talk further about it." You see the point?
Yeah.
But in a real world, we have to understand there are people out there right now who are still not certain. They don't listen to the press conference. They don't listen to the news. And somebody may tell them on the side of the road or wherever, X, Y, and Z, and they take it as the gospel and they run with it. Maybe I have one or two people who are listening to this program and they saw the text message from between Junior George and Jonathan Crette, and maybe they saw the little piece that Junior played, all right? Played up with our beloved Prime Minister on what transpired and so on. And maybe they might kind of get it clearer, and it may help them to, to understand what took place and so on. Maybe in our conversation, you may not like everything that I said, but maybe aspects of it, you may, get something there that make you a bit more comfortable, right? Or maybe make you more uncomfortable.
Maybe.
Right, maybe. But we have to continue with the conversation. We have to talk. People will talk.
Yeah.
So I agree with the caller, and there's a lot of people like that say, man, just let's get on with this thing. Let's accept what our Prime Minister said, and let's move on with this thing.
Give it a couple more days. How about that? And as you said, focus on Carrick Ken. Before we go into the next call, I got to say that this year, we are focusing on Carrickou, and we're doing a Monday night mass band in aid of Carrickou and Petit Martinique. And the folks that needs the assistance in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. Our Monday night mass band is called We Shall Rise After the Storm. T-shirt package is available now. If you want to play with us, come into the Esplanade Mall. We have this really nice T-shirt. I went in Carrickou yesterday and we gave some power packages and some T-shirts out. It was a really good time. We're focusing on Carrickou. We're not losing focus on Carrickou, but this conversation, we need to have this conversation. Again, if you want to play Monday Night Mass with amazing colors, we are focusing on Carrickou, Petit Martinique, and everyone affected by Hurricane Beryl in the aftermath. We shall rise after the storm. Get your T-shirt package inside the Esplanade Mall, kiosk number 3. Come and check us out, all right? Let's go back to the phone line really quickly. I know Kem has to prepare for his show, so we're going to let him up in a little bit. I understand how we go. Caller, you live?
Yes, good night, Mr. George.
Hi.
I am calling from Connecticut.
Connecticut, yes, sir. How are you?
Yes, this is my first time calling into the show, but I wanted to just call in to make a contribution because I believe that given the gravity of this situation and the decision that was made, and since that people have elected these leaders to administrate on their behalf, they do have the right, given that Grenada is a representative democracy, which means its leaders represent and administers on the behalf of the people. People do have a right when situations like these occur to question why have these decisions been made? What are the situations surrounding, the decisions that are made. Right. And for me, the truth is, when you look back, as Kem referred to his, astute abilities as a student of history, he's very competent in regards to that, very knowledgeable in regards to his historical knowledge and so forth. When you look back at Jonathan Crette's short career as a politician, we saw that he started as the Minister of Health and then he was moved over to the Minister of Sport. So is it a question of his competence in function, or is it a question of his competence as a former Minister of Health and a Minister of Sport that led up to the decision being made to remove him from these positions? So these questions are legitimate and people have a right to ask them to find out exactly what transpired, that led the Prime Minister and his other cabinet members to come up with such a decision to remove him from his position, not just temporarily this time, but permanently. So it wasn't a transfer into a different role as previously occurred. It's a complete removal from his office. So which means the gentleman is possibly no longer employed and he has a family to care for. I'm not sure if he has another job, something else that he does. And I'm sure he has a family to actually provide and to care for. So these are concerns, and these concerns, I believe, are legitimate. And I believe answers should be provided to these questions and concerns, given that everyone who operates as a politician in a representative democracy answers to the people because they were elected by the people. They came from the people.
Right.
And therefore they represent the people.
All right.
So the decisions that are made also affects the people, and the people need to know.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your input. We appreciate you. Kem, is it legitimate? I guess that's the last part of it. And
no, well, look, people are going to ask questions and so on. If you listen to the press conference and in that piece you played, then maybe, George, you can play it again so that the viewers could kind of get what our Prime Minister said.
Right.
Because I think the answer is all in there.
Appointment as,
yeah. Okay, so I have the clip, Kem. If you permit me, let me air that clip. That was what the Prime Minister said earlier today.
Senator, as a result thereof, since his senatorial appointment was in effect to allow him to carry out his duties as a minister. I have since communicated that decision to Mr. Crette yesterday morning and thanked him for his service to the government and people of Grenada as a Minister of Government and as a Senator. He has expressed his appreciation for being given the opportunity to serve in the Cabinet of Ministers. The reason for doing so is that as Prime Minister, sitting in the Cabinet, I formed the view that I had personally lost trust and confidence in Minister Crette in his capacity as a minister. And in those circumstances, I thought it was appropriate for me to inform him of that fact and to inform his fellow cabinet colleagues. I want to emphasize that there is no personal issues between myself and Mr. Crette. I am quite fond of him. There are no personal issues between him and the ministers of government. They have an excellent relationship. This is purely an issue of my prime ministerial discretion in relation to Minister Crette as a minister in cabinet, and in circumstances where as Prime Minister I no longer hold confidence in any particular minister, the only appropriate thing to do would be to allow the minister to be relieved of the burden of ministerial duties, and I have so done. I appreciate that the journalists who are here and other members of the media may have questions as to why I formed that view. I will indicate that I will not get into the nitty-gritty of the details because they are not appropriate given the fact that it's a trust and confidence issue, but I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have nonetheless in light of that. For completion, I should indicate that Senator the Honorable David Andrew will act as Minister for Youth and Sport in the meantime until I make a further decision as to the substantive post of Minister for Youth and Sports or any further cabinet realignment that may arise thereof.
Right, so that was earlier today, Kem. So that's what was said by the Prime Minister.
Yeah, so I think the answer is there. The answer is in that piece, right? You see, some people may still ask further questions. All right, some people may want a certain answer because you have people like that. Huh? If they don't get a certain answer, then they still continue to ask and ask and ask. So we are living in a real world, so you have to kind of expect those kind of stuff. There are some people who are not pleased and who will never be pleased with such a response. All right, we have some people here who like a TV and a bacchanal, and they want to hear some kind of thing, they want to know some kind of thing, and if they don't get that, then they start to speculate all kind. That's kind of normal.
Right.
All right. Well, normal.
I believe if you leave room for speculation go fly, eh?
Yeah. And sometimes even if you don't leave room for it,
it flies.
It would still be speculation.
Yeah. We got a final caller before we wrap up. Caller, live, where are you calling us from?
Good afternoon. I'm calling from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York. Go right
I
ahead.
think we need to understand Brooklyn, New York. I think we need to understand a little bit more about our constitution, the operations of democracy, the whole question of cabinet responsibility, and its appointment. When all the ministers were appointed, did the Prime Minister come to the Grenadian public to ask for the approval for the appointment of those individuals as members of cabinet? No. He, in his judgment, based on whoever he chose to get private advice from or not, chose those persons. He placed his confidence in those individuals to take on certain responsibilities based on their certification, their experience, their age, and a number of factors. And the Prime Minister, within his own judgment, if he loses confidence for one reason or the other, yes, it may be negative, but if he loses confidence, he has all right and responsibility to exercise his judgment to request the revocation of an appointment. I think that should be understood. If you're on a football team, you have a captain, and he makes a decision. He knows the strategy that is supposed to be employed, and he chooses to make a change on the team. And there is nothing wrong with that. I think people need to understand that and be very realistic and practical. The Constitution provides for the Prime Minister to advise the Governor General on appointments, both as senators and as members of the cabinet with ministerial responsibility. The only thing with our democracy that would certainly help us in terms of ensuring that democracy works for both government and the opposition is that we should probably have a limit on the number of ministers. So in Parliament, you have to have 8 elected parliamentarians to form the government. Then you should not have probably more than 6 persons being ministers. So then the government, the party in charge who would have won 8 or more seats, would have to have good conversation with all of the elected members to get policies passed. Similarly, there should be a restriction on the number of persons who are appointed as senators on the government side. Probably 5 should only become ministers. So in a Grenada situation, our ministers, in my opinion, should be limited to no more than 11, so that you have the balance.
Right.
That you have to negotiate, you have to talk, you have to share the interests of both the government, the opposition, and the people. Probably that's one of the things that may help us.
All right. Thank you, caller.
But the Prime Minister, whoever he may be, exercises his judgment, and it's a question of confidence. And we have to respect that. He doesn't have to go talking of what caused him to lose confidence, except a crime is committed and he wants to speak about it. Other than that, he lost confidence in me as an individual, in you, in her, in him, and he made his decision. He made a recommendation. I think we need to respect that.
Right.
That was the evil.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your input. Kem, your final comment?
Well, look, the caller said it best. Trust me. I cannot say anything more than say to the caller, you're bang on target. And you explain this thing smoothly and intelligently and smart in a very simple way. The caller said it best. The Prime Minister has that power. And I love when the caller said, when he appointed these ministers, because remember, you are elected as a member of parliament, not as a minister of government. And you are appointed as a senator, not elected as a senator. And you serve because the Prime Minister appointed you. Yes, you go through the formality and the Governor General, this and that. But if he doesn't want you there, you would not be there. And he doesn't have to give a reason. In this case, he gave a reason why. I think he said he lost confidence.
Yeah.
Lost confidence and something else. I think he used two words there. Is it he lost confidence and what? Is it trust?
Yeah, he mentioned trust. I believe he mentioned trust.
Okay, something like that.
Trust.
Right. So he gave a reason, and so But he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He can change any one of them at any time, even if they're elected. Even if they're elected. In this case, Mr. Jonathan Lacrette was appointed by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister didn't have to appoint him, but he was appointed by him. And look, he's a likable gentleman. All right? There's a lot of people in different circles who like him. They like his vibes. They like the way he does things. Kind of run away from that reality. So there will be emotions. There will be some people who will be displeased or unhappy. You kind of have to expect that. All right? But over time, that too shall pass.
Yeah.
All right? Over time, people will come back to that place where we can look at issues and look at the things that are happening throughout.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So confidence and trust.
Yeah, confidence and trust. You mentioned
Oh,
trust.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Guys,
So
I would love, Kem, I would love to have the focus again on Carriacou. So I want to focus back the
and
attention.
Junior, big up yourself. I love the message of we shall rise again after the storm.
Yes,
All
thank you.
right. I love that. I don't know if you wanted to put hurricane there, but maybe hurricane would scare people.
Yeah.
But I love that you want to focus on Carriacou and PT Martinique some more, and St. Patrick, St. Mark, because I think the people, they are fighting to get back on foot, and just that message could motivate them, could encourage them, and I love that. I want to applaud you for thinking along that line.
Yeah, let me tell you, Kem, after I visited Carriacou yesterday, and again, the idea was to go and provide inspiration and power to people in Carriacou. Inspiration by telling them that we are always focusing on them, and power, we got some small power packs that is charged by solar. So I was going around distributing those power solar packs to people. And this lady met me at the port, and she ran up to me and she hugged me. I swear, Kim, she broke my spine. She grabbed me and she held me and she started to cry. And that just gave me more motivation that we need to do more. Whatever we was doing was not enough. We need to do more. And I appeal to people, let's recenter, let's refocus our attention. This is not going to be an ongoing conversation. We're not going to be speaking about this tomorrow and on and on and on and on and on about Jonathan Lacrette. To me, that's a done story. That's finished, right? The big picture here now is aid for the folks that's affected by Hurricane Beryl, the aftermath. That is the focus. So let's recenter everything, guys. That is where we are.
And Junior, you visited Carriacou because there are some people who believe that government should kind of go quickly and do stuff, meaning rebuild and ting, right?
Yeah.
But what is your take though? And they give the impression that people are on the streets sleeping, or people are more or less having no place to shelter. What is your take though? There's enough places up there for people to.
People, there are a lot of people there who started to rebuild back. Like they have, I call it a blue city. So when you are at the top and you look down, you see tarpaulin on the houses. People have started the reconstruction. And some of the drone shots, you would see people are basically building back from the scrap metal, right? People in Carriacou, again, they are not like sitting there and laying on the side of the street and begging and flies coming off their face. They're not. They're getting up and they're working and they're coming together and they're helping each other out. You see how much scrap metal that's there, Kim? That's inside of the park, right?
Yes.
And if you look in the distance, you will see when I do the flyover, you will see that there are people on top of the houses and they're building, and family and friends coming together to help each other out. So people in Carriacou are so resilient. They are building from the scrap metal.
You managed to go to PT Martinique?
Not yesterday, but I plan to do that either tomorrow or over the weekend. You see the guys on the house building,
Yes.
got the roof up. I'm going to go to PT Martinique either tomorrow or the day after that. But the goal is to go there personally, not look at what everyone else have been posting, what everyone else have been saying, But to go there and to provide assistance, to provide whatever, and basically we have to assess it ourselves. We have to
Correct.
assess it ourselves.
Because,
And
Junior, you see, some people don't understand, or maybe they forget, we are still in the hurricane season.
yes,
And one could easily say, well, government should spend the millions on rebuilding and the people should just rebuild and do X and do Y. But you have to still think about the fact that we are in the hurricane season and it is forecast to be a very active one. So you don't know what could happen down the road.
yes,
Also, the government needs to be doing this thing smarter, right? You want to build back better and smarter because we have never experienced a category 4 hurricane before. It means that in the next couple of years, we may experience a category 5 or 6 or 7. You see the point? Because it's going up and up and up in terms of the strength of the winds and so on. So we have to kind of build smarter so that we can at least survive at a category 4 again or 3 or so. So I am saying that we need to at least use the building codes. We need to design certain things differently. And because the people of Carriacou and PT Martinique, Junior, to be honest, they never experienced a hurricane like that before.
true.
All right. So the houses, you're talking about 20, 30, 40, 50 years. The houses, they were built in a certain way. All right. So now that they experience such a thing, I am certain they would want to rethink the way they construct their roofs, they construct their homes, and that kind of thing. So we have to still be very, strategic as we go about the rebuilding process. The recovery will take a longer time because it's not just building back your house, it's recovery. There are people who would have psychosocial issues, right? There are people who would have other issues between now and the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yes,
So it's a lot of work to get people back to that stage of normalcy. So I'm saying I just hope and pray that it happens in such a way that they build back better and stronger and smarter.
yes,
I remember going to one of those islands. I just can't tell you off the bat which one of them in the Caribbean. And I just saw these houses with concrete roofs, right? And I was like, but why are they building with this concrete roof thing? And then somebody said to me, they experienced a number of hurricanes, so they build in because there's a great probability that down the road they could be affected by it again. So they have more concrete roofs. And in fact, even on top of those concrete roofs, they had this steel rafters and so on. Is it aluminum rafters?
yes, yes.
Right, either iron or aluminum, the rafters, and they have the galvanized. So even if the storm or the hurricane comes, the galvanized might go. Even if they're using screws and so on, with this kind of wind, the galvanized might go, the rafters might go, but the building will remain intact. All right. I just can't remember. I know I've been to Jamaica. I've been to some of those smaller islands, but I can't remember which one of those islands. But I think we need to start to think along that line and do things knowing that we are in a hurricane path. Somebody say St. Croix, USVI, right? Yeah, I've been to British Virgin Islands and so on, that kind of thing. But I can't, St. Croix, I haven't been there, but I can't remember where. But at the end of the day, thank you very much there, folks. I'm simply saying every 1st of June to November the 30th, you can expect to hear about hurricanes and about storms and about tropical depressions and that kind of stuff. And there's a great probability that Grenada will be affected by it every year for about 6 or so months: June, July, August, September, October, November. But Also, bear in mind that it could go all into December. Because I think there was Storm Surge Lenny in 1999.
Uh-huh.
Was it 1999? I think so. Somewhere in 1999. I think it was around a December time, you know. I think it was around a December time we were affected by that. I stand to be corrected.
Uh-huh.
I think it was around that time. So I am saying that we are living in a hurricane-prone zone or area, and we need to build smarter, and we cannot rush the rebuilding effort because there are some people, they would just take materials or spend their money and build back a roof. But the question, are they building back the roof in a smarter way, a stronger way than it was before, or they're just doing the same thing?
Right.
You understand the point?
So true. So
So
true.
it must be guided, it must be the authorities have to help the people, guide them accordingly, help them so that they can at least to adhere to certain building codes and things like that. They need to do that because, you don't want 10 years down the line, you're back to the same place where, 97% of your housing stock destroyed because you didn't do it right. But
Yeah.
we just pray and hope that the assistance will come for the people of Carriacou and Petit. I think so far people have been really giving
Yeah.
to the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique and St. Patrick and St. Mark. All
Yeah.
right. And that's good. Volunteering, giving, supporting, families doing the same thing. And I just love the way that the people are pulling together and trying to bounce back. I really love that. And Junior, it's good that you went up there and do that aerial footage there, a video there.
Yeah.
That's really good. I really love that. We have not had that since this white guy did that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe one or two other people did it, but
Yeah.
your footage there is giving people a good insight as to where Carriacou is at this point in time. That's a really good vibes there. Maybe you can go to PT Mart. They can do the same thing for
Yeah,
us
absolutely. That's the plan. That's the
as a
plan.
public service.
That's the plan. Kim, thank you so much for chatting with us. I know you're going to be on in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yes.
And we invite everyone to tune in. At the top of the hour, put a link for Kim Jones. If you don't know his platform, look for what's the name of the page? Kim?
It's Grenada Transformation Agenda or Kem Jones
Agenda.
or YouTube Vision Information Services.
Just search it. Everybody know Kim
Yes.
Jones. Kim, thank you so much, my brother. We'll keep in touch, all right?
Nice, one love.
All right, thank you. Guys, we got a commercial break, and I got final closing words when we come back.
And Spice Love Comedy Bash is back by popular demand. Saturday 17th August at the Trade Center in Grandance and Sunday 18th August at Deluxe Cinema Grenville, 7 p.m. both shows. Prepare to be swept off your seats as Grenada's ambassadors of comedy will flood the place with laughter. Robert White, Dillian Walters and Gregory Paul, Kareem Alexis, and a host of others outrageously funny people doing outrageously funny things. Get your $60 tickets on sale at Mitchell's Pharmacy Food Fair Complex Grandance, Gittins Pharmacy Wall Street, Gabriel's Pharmacy Pedmata, St. Andrew's Pharmacy Grenville, St. David's Pharmacy, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceland Mall, 3B Shoe Store, downtown St. George's, and go to Fed.com. Tickets for the previously scheduled Grenville performances are valid for both shows. Don't miss this final opportunity to enjoy a good Grenadian laugh at Spice Laugh Comedy Bash, 17th and 18th August at the Grenada Trade Center and Deluxe Cinema. Get your tickets and come prepared to laugh.
Again, guys, we're getting ready for the Monday Night Mass, Spice Mass, Grenada Carnival. Monday Night Mass, we're playing with amazing colors. Guys, don't forget, if you're looking for packages, you could come inside the Esplanade Mall. We open from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Come get your packages. After next week, guys, we're going to be on the Carnage. So you could come in and pick up your package. This week, you could come into our kiosk right inside the Esplanade Mall. Get your package. Monday Night Mass with amazing colors. The t-shirt section. We have a few Frontline, guys, but it's almost sold out already. Frontline, very limited. So come in and get your packages. We have the t-shirt package again. And we are supporting the folks that was devastated by the Hurricane Beryl. All right? We shall rise again. We shall rise again. Monday Night Mass with amazing colors. T-shirt package available. Unlimited drinks you get your t-shirt, your bag, your bottle, and of course your band, and get ready to have a great time inside of Amazing Colors. We want to see you guys inside of the band, all right? Monday Night Mass with Amazing Colors. Get your packages now.
Today we go mash it up. 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 You can't stop the unstoppable. You can't move the unmovable. You can't move the unmovable. You can't break the unbreakable. You can't break the unbreakable. You call me to it's the level, high the level, raise the level, up it, up it.
What if you had a choice? A choice of joining a line or a choice of making your purchases online? What would you choose? While you ponder on that, the National Lotteries Authority has provided another purchasing option. All their games are now available online. Yes, Grenadians! From wherever you are, purchase your favorite daily and jackpot type games using any electronic device. Register on the NLA's website at www.nla.gd. Top up your account and enjoy online lottery gaming at your convenience. We're taking shopping comfort up, up, up several notches. But the choice is yours. Join a line or buy online. NLA, make your dreams come true.
You call me to it's the level, high the level, raise the level, up it, up it.
Riders Excursion and Tours weekly e-bike rides. Gather your family and friends for an unforgettable ride through stunning landscapes. Book your adventure today at ridersabike.com or call 473-422-1011. Don't miss out. Let's ride.
Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a e-bike today and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent a e-bike.
When Spice Love Comedy Bash is back by popular demand. Saturday 17th August at the Trade Center in Grandance and Sunday 18th August at Deluxe Cinema Grenville, 7 p.m. both shows. Prepare to be swept off your seats as Grenada's ambassadors of comedy will flood the place with laughter. Robert White, Dillian Walters and Gregory Paul, Kareem Alexis, and a host of others outrageously funny people doing outrageously funny things. Get your $60 tickets on sale at Mitchell's Pharmacy Food Fair Complex Grandance, Gittins Pharmacy Wall Street, Gabriel's Pharmacy Pedmata, St. Andrew's Pharmacy Grenville, St. David's Pharmacy, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceland Mall, 3B Shoe Store, Downtown St. George's, and go to Fed.com. Tickets for the previously scheduled Grenville performances are valid for both shows. Don't miss this final opportunity to enjoy a good Grenadian laugh at Spice Laugh Comedy Bash, 17th and 18th August at the Grenada Trade Center and Deluxe Cinema. Get your tickets and come prepared to laugh.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money.
Again, once again, thank you so much, guys, for watching and supporting Ride Along Live. I saw a few people was asking about where they could get their packages online. So if you're not yet in Grenada and you want to purchase your package before you get to Grenada, you click that link right there and purchase it online. All right, purchase your package online right now, so when you get to Grenada, it'll be sitting waiting for you. All right, so go there right now, click that link and purchase it. Go to ridebuy.com and you could purchase your ticket. All right, okay, nice. Looking forward to see you there in Grenada for Spice Mass, Monday Night Mass with amazing colors. Guys, on this topic of Crette, again, there have been many speculation, and I still want to hear all sides of this thing, all right? The speculations of police and escorted into the car, that was spoken about yesterday, but at present, we could only classify it as speculations. At this point, there have been no individual person, no one that could confirm anything to the effect of what those speculations are. No one provided pictures, photos, no one could verify that there was anything different than what was said in the press conference today. In fact, as I said earlier, I communicated with Brother Laco, who I still have respect for as a person, right? No malice against Laco. I messaged him earlier and he messaged me back, and he said that whatever was said at the press conference is what transpired. But you know that there will be speculations. You know, people would talk and create a narrative to what happened. But from all indication, the people that was in the room, and I spoke to several of the people that was in the room, they deny that there was any police involvement, escort, police, cuss out, none of that could have been confirmed. But if anyone have anything to the effect, pictures, videos to show police escort, I would come back and I would say, well, we got new evidence that confirmed that this in fact happened. Nevertheless, as Kem said, that the Prime Minister have the sole responsibility to hire and fire, especially, including, I should say, whether it's an MP or not. And he used his discretion, and he fired Laco because he lost trust and confidence in his ability to carry on the work that he gave him. And that is the responsibility of a boss, of a boss that hire you, an employer, or, well, I'm going to use an employer because in this case, this is the Prime Minister. In my case, I had a situation in my business where I lost confidence and trust in someone that was working for me, and I fired him. I was in the right to fire the person, because if I didn't, probably it would have been a bad situation for me up to a day like today. But I fired the individual because I lost trust and faith in their ability to carry on the responsibility that I gave them. And this is what happened here, right? So again, guys, if anyone have any other, well, I don't intend to carry on the story, by the way. I don't intend to keep speaking about this. For me, this is done. All right, this is a null and void story. This is done. We're going to talk about focusing on helping the people and the aftermath of Beryl, preparing for a Monday night mass, getting as much people on the road, and supporting Carrico, P.T. Martinique, St. Patrick, and everyone that's affected. That is where my focus is going to be for the next couple of days. We encourage everyone to come out and support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of our program, guys. Good night, good night, good night, and good night.
Spice Love Comedy Bash is back by popular demand. Saturday 17th August at the Trade Center in Grandance, and Sunday 18th August at Deluxe Cinema Grenville, 7 p.m. both shows. Prepare to be swept off your seats as Grenada's ambassadors of comedy will flood the place with laughter. Robert White, Dillian Walters and Gregory Paul, Kareem Alexis, and a host of others outrageously funny people doing outrageously funny things. Get your $60 tickets on sale at Mitchell's Pharmacy Food Fair Complex Grandance, Gittins Pharmacy Wall Street, Gabriel's Pharmacy Pedmota, St. Andrew's Pharmacy Grenville, St. David's Pharmacy, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceland Mall, 3B Shoe Store, downtown St. George's, and go to Fed.com. Tickets for the previously scheduled Grenville performances are valid for both shows. Don't miss this final opportunity to enjoy a good Grenadian laugh at Spice Laugh Comedy Bash, 17th and 18th August at the Grenada Trade Center and Deluxe Cinema. Get your tickets and come prepared to laugh.
Today. Located inside Ryder Excursion at the Esplanade Mall, we handle both small and large orders with speed and precision. For fast, quality t-shirt printing, call Instaprint at 473-422-1011. Get your perfect print today at Instaprint. Printing done in an instant.